Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Talking Movies. My name is John Malkovich.
God damn it! I was gonna do that. I'm Randall.
You're all supposed to do it.
Oh shit! I didn't consider that.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
I'm Chris. Whatever. Or Malkovich.
Chris Malkovich.
Today we're talking
Ruined
about
ruined
my
it.
pick this week, 1999, being John Malkovich.
Do you think that it's kind of weird that John Malkovich has a portal? I mean, do you think that it might have some sort of significance?
What is going on? Huh? I discovered that portal. It's my head!
John Cusack, Cameron Diaz, Catherine Keener, and John Malkovich.
Malkovich! Malkovich!
Being John Malkovich.
Hey, Malkovich, think fast.
Is it Malkovich or Malkovic?
I've always said it and heard it Malkovich.
Yeah.
They
That
say,
doesn't mean it's right.
they say it a million times in this movie. I'm pretty sure it's Malkovich.
Yeah,
I know, but
I would think he'd have said something.
That's
During
a
filming,
good point, and I didn't even consider that. So Hugh, I'm on your side with that one because I was like, "Oh yeah, they did say that a bunch, didn't they?"
Anyways, what is this movie about? It is about a
A fella.
out of work puppeteer who goes to work at an office who falls in love with the first lady he meets in the office and then finds a hole that leads him into the brain of John Malkovich. Had everyone seen this? Oh, Chris had not seen it, right?
No.
I had.
Okay, everyone else has seen it, right? Clay, you've seen it before?
yeah, I saw it when it came out, and
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen it a couple times since then. I've watched it halfway through a dozen times, maybe half a dozen times.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, I picked it because I remember really enjoying the movie, and we don't talk about comedies very often. So I find this movie extremely funny. So
Well,
Sorry.
like 40 minutes in, I paused it and I was like, "Ain't no way they could make this movie today." I was like, "Ain't no way, not with this script, not with this dialogue, it wouldn't happen."
what you mean?
Chris, dude, they say all kinds of stuff you can't say now. Like this whole cast would be canceled. The writer would be canceled. The director would be
I
canceled.
mean, I guess so.
The internet mob would be so upset right now.
I
Dude,
mean,
they said
if anyone doesn't know who John Malkovich is, he was really good in that movie where he played the retard, right?
bro, I was laughing so hard when that guy said that. And that guy's the dude from. Is he from like Sex and the City, or is that a different fella? I think that guy's pretty famous now.
I can't
But-
remember. He's also really good in that Jewel Thief movie, but
Yeah, dude, that was. Dude, but when he's sitting at the dinner table, and that guy's like, "Man, you were really good when you played that retard," and he says it like 7 times.
yeah.
And every time he said it, I was just like, "Oh, and then I was just like, "Oh, that hurt so good, man." And I mean,
Yeah.
it was because it's so just. I'll be honest, man. I think freedom of speech is coming back in a big way in 2025, and stuff like this will be a little more accepted. But I do think that people get really upset by, well, oddly enough, language for things that they shouldn't be super upset by. And I think a lot of people would get upset by this movie now. Didn't she call him the F word at some point right in the very beginning of the movie?
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff where you're like, oh man, it's funny, but I shouldn't laugh around anybody.
I mean, it was 1999. It was
Right.
a slightly different time.
Yeah.
But
that's a 25-year-old movie. That's crazy, man.
yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Josh was like 10 when this came out, or not even?
9,
Wow.
8, maybe.
That's crazy.
Chris.
Like, I remember when this came out, I was like, who's John Malkovich? But
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was looking at his credits. I was like, what had he done before this movie? It wasn't much. It was like
That's what was so great about it.
yeah. So it was like he was like the bad guy, Cyrus the Virus, and Con Air, and you
what I
know,
was gonna say,
like villain roles and bit parts and stuff. He was a small character actor before this, so it's like, who is this guy?
I think that I heard that that's kind of why they wanted to use him, is that it would be hilarious that they didn't pick some giant famous person.
Yeah.
I might have heard that from you, actually. I can't remember, but I heard that at some point.
Well, it's Charlie Kaufman. It was his first like solo script. Like he worked on TV and stuff before this, but he's well known now as like he did Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine, Spotless
Yeah,
Mind.
he's a quirky fella.
Yeah, he's definitely a quirky fella. But this was his first like script, and he didn't even expect to get it made. He was like, "I'm just gonna write whatever comes in my head, kind of, and
That's awesome,
and use it as a like a foot in the door. Like people are gonna read this and be like, this is interesting, and maybe it'll get me work." And somehow it got made. It's like the fact that this movie even exists is absolutely bonkers, right?
Yes. So yeah, I mean, that's my biggest question watching this movie, and I've always kind of wondered, like, why John Malkovich? So
Yeah.
it's like so many times, like I just stop and think in the middle of the movie, like, why?
Why is it?
Why?
John Malkovich?
Why is
well
whatever?
I listened to some behind the scenes stuff, and he always had it was always John Malkovich, and he didn't ever have like a good explanation why, except that he thinks his last name just sounds funny, and like it has to be a certain type of guy. Like if it was Charlie Sheen, this movie would not work at all, right? It's just like he has a certain type of temperament. He's sort of an odd guy, but you can kind of project onto him, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It works for whatever reason. At least I think it works.
Yeah, there could have been others, but yeah, it does work.
Yeah.
Well, the obscurity of him, and
Yeah.
honestly, if you know anything about him at all, which honestly we probably didn't when this came out, right? Well, I didn't. I knew a little bit. I mostly knew him from Con Air,
Yeah.
but like, if you know anything about, he's also kind of an eccentric. He's an eccentric type of guy.
Oh, definitely.
And it's like, so this would be a really great person that if they're game, you could do what they did with it, which is make it honestly. I was okay. So when you said being John Malkovich, I almost rolled my eyes. I was like, I don't want to fucking watch that, man. But like 10, 20 minutes in, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how silly this is, dude. Like,
oh, it's yeah.
And I was like, okay,
It's
man,
so
trust
stupid.
the process, Randall. Trust the process. And it's a really, really fun movie. Silly, but fun movie. Even Chris, when it was over with, it's rare. She goes, I don't know what to say about that. She literally got up and goes, I don't know what to say right now, and then walked off. And
Tori,
I was like, that's awesome.
Tori and I watched it together. She had never seen it, and we were just giggling through the whole thing.
No, it's definitely silly.
It's so silly. She's like, wait, he's gonna go into like when he shows up and he goes into his own portal. She's like, what is about to happen?
That's exactly what Chris is saying. She's like, what do you think's gonna happen, dude? Every time somebody falls from the sky on the turnpike, I started cracking up, dude.
Yeah, it's so
because
stupid.
it's not only stupid, but it's also kind of amazing because it does. It's like, okay, it takes a certain kind of person to even come up with that.
Yeah,
and so like. That's the kind of stuff that I appreciate. I was like, because I couldn't come up with something like that. That's hilarious.
It's so sort of. I mean, it's kind of random, but it's like what's funny is the specificity of it. Those specific odd choices, they all just add up to this weird thing.
Well, the cast is pretty, honestly, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Especially back when they came out in '99. I think Cameron Diaz was a pretty big actor back then.
That's what I was telling Tori. I was like, I think Cameron Diaz was probably the biggest star of this movie at the time, and she's the one that plays like the frumpiest of all of them.
Dude, her hair threw me off for like the whole movie. I was just like, fix your fucking hair.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's horrible. But it's like everybody in this movie is kind of playing against type.
Oh yeah.
Even Catherine Keener, she's usually more of sort of a nerdy, like bookish girl. Like she's not playing,
or even like a mom.
Yeah, or a mom. She's not playing the hot chick. Like everyone's sort of playing against type.
She was the sell your stuff on eBay girl and 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah. Dude, I love that movie. Carissa was very bothered by her teeth, and I was like,
oh yeah,
I kind of like her teeth, and she just gave me this like, ugh, your gross look. I was like, I don't know.
So Chris, You're the one who hadn't seen it before. What did you think of the movie?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of touched on most of the little main bullet points of it. Yeah, it's funny, it's silly, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say I was frustrated while I was watching it, but just having never seen it before, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you? They're just just gonna go in the hole, okay? Or just who cares about that chick? That chick sucks. Like, leave her alone. Like, don't worry about her.
He does.
Like, so just there's so many little.
Then you
just
start
like,
selling the hole.
This is a commercial for prostitution.
It's hard.
Yeah. So yeah, I could see myself enjoy. I mean, not to say I didn't enjoy it because I did. It was good. It was funny. It was just weird enough and up my alley in that department. But
Yeah.
I could see myself really enjoying it. Like again, second, third, whatever. Just along for the ride with all the stupid stuff going on instead of having to go, what? Why? all the time.
That part where he's got the towel wrapped around him, he starts dancing and doing flips and shit. I was just like, dude.
Oh yeah.
I had sort of forgotten about a lot of the puppet stuff, which makes sense in the movie later because he's like literally puppeteering this guy, but it's so weird.
Dude,
it's so weird.
Charlie Sheen being my favorite person in the whole movie.
That bald cap at the end.
Dude.
Oh man. That was bad.
I thought it was great in a bad way.
Yeah.
It was great.
I mean, it's the point to be bad, right?
Yeah. They're not taking anything too seriously in the movie.
When he puts the old girl in the cage, I was like, bro, like, I don't think you can do this shit. He's like, shut up, bitch. Go over here in the cage.
And then the chimp has a flashback to
Yeah.
his trauma.
Yeah, he had a PTSD flashback. And
That was a long flashback.
helped her open the cage.
Oh man. I don't know, dude. This movie's pretty fucking funny, man. Like,
It's funny. I think it's so funny.
Yeah.
You saying nothing. You don't like this movie, huh? It's not for you.
Man, I think like in this grand scheme of cinema, it's an important movie. Like I was just looking, it's on the top 500 movies of all time. Like it's got a high ass rating on every service, but dude, it just annoys the living shit out of me.
Man,
and I mean,
well, it's like
that's hilarious.
I was watching it and I was like, I have a feeling Clay is gonna hate this. I picked it. I was like, everyone's gonna have fun with this movie, and then I was like, oh man, I don't know.
All the shit that you like and watch, and this one annoys you, is what makes me laugh. And I'm not saying it's a good or bad. I don't understand it, but it's funny as shit to me that you're like, this one annoys me, and it's like, man, that's amazing. Like,
because I kind of fall into that camp as well, but I just had to stop numerous times in the movie and tell myself, it's like, no, it's supposed to be annoying. Just
right.
It's supposed to be stupid. It's supposed to be annoying. It's not supposed to make sense.
The characters are supposed to be annoying.
It's
like a spoof on Malkovich a little bit. Like he's even goofing himself. I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be, Randy. I don't know. I mean, but like the last, I would say like the first 20 minutes, I was like, all right, I'm vibing this, and then Cameron Diaz showed up, and I was just like, oh, I remember how much I hate this chick. And then the relationship started falling apart, and I was just like, oh, not tonight. And then they started selling the hole, and all the old people came in, and I was just like, dude, I am not feeling this. And I think I had a pretty serious day too, and I don't know. Maybe I was just in a mood, but like I said, I recognize the importance of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's more me obviously than everybody else likes it.
It's a taste thing too. Like this is like my type of humor. I love just like absolutely absurdist shit. Like that's
afraid.
Yeah,
I will say,
just like sort of deadpan absurdity, like Big Lebowski and stuff like that. Like straight up comedies, I can kind of like give or take a lot, but stuff like this that is sort of like just sort of deadpan and absolutely ridiculous, it'll crack me up.
That's
Well,
awesome.
it does come off like a little bit of a pretentious, like, but not in like a necessarily a bad way. Like, I don't think that's the right word, man.
Yeah.
It's like
There's like a dance in it.
it's like an
5
artsy.
minutes.
It is an
Arts-
arty movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
artsy
talk
comedy.
about Broadway.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me that you dig that. I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
I was
It
watching
skirts
it and
the
I was
line,
I was I was wondering. I was like, he likes this movie. I was a little surprised at times because it gets a little. I know you don't like silly stuff too often. Like you're more like, at least in my experiences with you, I haven't noticed that you like silly stuff, and they get real silly in this movie. But it's also done with a very underlining like a I don't know,
Yeah.
a serious like bedrock underneath it, you know?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, if you look at the way the movie's shot, it looks like mostly pretty realistic, except for like, the half floor and like the weird elements of the movie, but everything's played straight.
I like that they have like a half floor that they don't ever really talk about much. They just expect you to accept it, and then it's like fucking, I don't know, 4 feet tall, and you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
Well, the first time he goes up in the elevator, like it's Octavia Spencer in the elevator.
Yeah.
Too. And she just like stops the elevator and uses the crowbar to open the door. It's like, what?
You don't know? Okay, I'll help you.
Right.
I was like, explain it, but I mean, it's the stupidest explanation they could have possibly come up with.
I loved Maxine in this movie, though. I will say, like, I thought it was hilarious that I thought it was funny how Puppeteer Man kept trying to hit on her, and she was trying to get him to talk like real forcefully and aggressively and dirty, and he just was like, it like broke down for him. So
you didn't like her, Josh?
Oh, I mean, I like the character, but I hate the character. She's
I like it.
Super annoying. Yeah.
I thought that John Cusack's character was far and away the more annoying character.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just like her because she kind of treats everybody in the movie like shit.
Yeah, that's
you like it. You like that she treats everyone like shit. Oh,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm kind of into that too. I think that she could treat me like shit if she wants to. It's all right.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But dude, he's so pathetic, bro. Like he's like, man, you know what it is though? Is like, and this is so dumb. Like if I was a single guy, I may not have been like so upset by his character's choices, but like the fact that I'm very much married, you are, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man? Like you got a wife at home, you asshole. Like I immediately go to that. Now I don't have a clue what I thought about that when I first saw this movie, and probably nothing at all. Honestly, I was like 20 years old, but I was like immediately turned off by his desperation for this woman that he doesn't need in his life, while his wife's at home stressing out about shit. It really bothers me when people behave like that.
Yeah,
like
no, he's definitely a piece of shit.
Yeah. Whatever.
And then she falls in love with her, and I'm like, that's what you get, you stupid motherfucker. Oh man. Oh, dude, that's another thing. She's like, I'm a transsexual. I was like, oh my god.
The moment she goes into John Malkovich, she's like, oh, I'm supposed to be a man.
I was like, oh, dude, this movie might be more relevant now than it ever has been.
Right. And the fact that she only Catherine Keener only wants to be with her when she's in John Malkovich. It's like, what?
Yeah. There's a lot of good, like, just like little, like you said earlier, specific details that just, that's it, are absurd and silly, but yeah.
Dude, when he's sitting at his house and all of a sudden the camera turns and Charlie Sheen's sitting in that chair fucking with that Rubik's Cube or whatever. Yeah. I literally was drinking a drink of Diet Dr. Pepper and I almost spit it on the floor because I had forgotten Charlie Sheen was even in this movie. And I was like, yo, what is going on right now? And they're talking as if they're Charlie Sheen and
well, it's so insane that John Malkovich would be friends with Charlie Sheen. It makes
that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, dude, that's a wild couple of dudes right there. Like that's a couple I would never imagine.
That's sort of the weird thing that I think Kaufman does, though. Like he like acknowledges that the audience knows who everyone actually is.
Okay.
Like, so he's a like, that the joke is that Charlie Sheen is John Malkovich's friend. So everyone watching the movie are like, that's ridiculous because we know who those people are.
Yeah.
And just like, like you've seen Adaptation, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while though.
But the beginning of that movie is you see Spike Jonze directing being John Malkovich, and like it just like it folds all of these like and Nick Cage. Nick Cage is playing Charlie Kaufman in the movie. It's him writing the movie that they're in.
I forgot that it shows him doing the John Malkovich thing. I haven't seen the movie in a while, bro.
Yeah,
I need to go back and watch that one again.
That's a weird one too, but
yeah, I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I think this one's a little more fun.
Yeah,
but
yeah, these are just kind of the, I don't know, like I like plenty of like artsy hipstery shit, I guess, but this is not necessarily my general bag of artsy hipstery shit.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
So yeah, not that I've like actively avoided it before, but I don't know, just something like this is what it's going to take, I guess, to get me to watch them.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things about this, though, is that we get forced into watching stuff that we don't normally watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look, dude, I've already said I was going to stop doing this podcast a long time ago because of the time I just didn't have available. Yet I haven't stopped doing it yet. I enjoy this forcing me to watch some stuff. I mean, obviously, I like hanging out with you guys. It's my primary reason for hanging out, right?
Yeah.
But it is cool. I do appreciate that. Like, I was pretty sure I wasn't going to make this show. I was pretty confident. I barely got it watched. I watched it. I finished it like 10 minutes before we got on. So, yeah, I barely had time to do it. But I was like, ooh, it's 2 hours. I got just enough time to watch it. And so I sat down and watched it with Carissa.
Well, I appreciate you doing that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. I also have a movie picked out tonight, I hope, that is one that we are all going to be happy with once we watch it. And I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. Cool. Y'all have anything to add to the movie?
The old people.
Bro.
The old people?
Yeah. What's up with the old people? Like, I don't know. That's all I got to say.
They
what's
were
up with the old people.
That's exactly what's up with them.
That's
I know that's part of the joke, but still, like, I mean,
so
why were there?
That's the reason that the whole exists.
Yeah. I have a question about Magic too.
And
So
I mean,
maybe while we're answering the old people, we can answer this one. So I thought John Cusack returned to his body, and then somehow he was in.
Oh yeah, because they don't show it, but he leaves the body, right? You mean, are you talking about the very end?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he
He falls out of the sky.
Yeah, and then the two girls are like, "Fuck you, loser," and they drive off and leave him.
Right.
So obviously he's gonna be like, "Well, I'm just gonna go back into his body," right? So he just goes back into the tunnel, but it's already changed. Now it's gone to the next person. Like, remember they said that
the old people went through it or something.
Well, they said they say in the movie that it lasts for like what 7 years or something,
Something like that, and then a different person,
and then it closes the portal to that person, and it goes to a new person, like a infant. And
right. Well, that's sorry.
The infant happened to be their daughter.
So stupid.
And that's why the old people were like, we have to go through before this time. Otherwise they just go into a baby and they're like locked in there forever. It makes its own logic. It's not, I mean,
like what?
It's not really what happens when you die or whatever.
Yeah.
I think my problem with it, I guess, for lack of a better term, is just, I mean, if the original old guy, it's not really that old guy, he's some other old guy.
Yeah.
So where all these other old people come from? Like they're just other old people he met while he was in this body. I don't know.
He's just bringing his friends with him.
I can't help.
I want to know how many old people are in his body. It's probably like 10 old people already.
Yeah, so there's like hundreds and hundreds of old people just stacked in on each one. But something also made me very uncomfortable at the very end when it was like in their daughter now, and something just that really just kind of irked me.
That was definitely pretty weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he's like trapped in there. He can't do anything.
Yeah,
right.
Well, it's just like basically he's such a shitheel the whole movie. It was like, well, fuck you, man. This is
so does he spend 7 years trapped there?
No, he's trapped there forever.
Wow.
Forever. Yeah. And he can't control her or anything. He's just stuck in there.
So what happened to his body?
It's inside her head. I don't know. This is the logic of this movie.
So I mean, but Charlie Sheen and John Malkovich are going to be getting into her body next. Is part 2 of this, I guess, too, right?
Yeah, probably.
So it's going to be like John Malkovich and Charlie Sheen and Brad Pitt and whoever. There was a couple other people in there.
Y'all are thinking about it too much.
I'm with you on that one, Josh.
Oh man. My other favorite scene is the whole PBS documentary when he becomes a puppeteer.
Puppeteering just becomes super popular.
Yeah. Who was it? Sean Penn is like,
Sean Penn.
Yeah, I don't want to jump in too soon, but I've always been kind of interested in puppeteering myself.
That's fucking stupid.
The other guy, the name says like Christopher Bing or something. That is David Fincher.
What?
I saw that. Oh yeah, I looked at the credits afterwards.
Yeah, just like and Brad Pitt is in there for like half a second. There's just like a bunch of little cameos and stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's mostly in that end little documentary thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's I don't know. I think that's a Spike Jonze thing. Like he is like friends with everyone for some reason. So
that's awesome.
People just. Do you know much about Spike Jonze, Randy? I was kind of because he got his start doing skate.
I know the name. Okay, that's why I know the name. Then I was like, I know the name, but I don't know where. I apologize for looking like I'm being an asshole. I'm paying attention, but I'm trying to find this movie that I was going to pick out. Make sure it's the right one.
Okay. No, I wanted to ask specifically Randy about this. So I'm glad you were able to join because. Yeah, he was in that whole skate culture. Like he did a lot of music videos.
Well, he was doing the Big Brother videos, I think, with Johnny.
Oh, really?
And, yeah.
I mean, he co-produced. Like he was one of the co-creators of Jackass.
Jackass, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because I knew the name was like super familiar, but I was like, I don't know why I know that name.
But he's.
I thought I just knew him as a director, but I'm certain it's from the skate community.
Yeah,
is where I would know that name from now that we're talking about it.
And I was thinking about that. I was like I mean, it's not. I wouldn't call him a punk rock guy, but it is sort of tangential.
It's in that under that umbrella a little bit.
And then when you look at this movie, there is sort of a punk rock aspect to it, just like kind of doing whatever the hell you want, just like throwing all of these like disparate elements together and just like creating something. There is a handmade quality to it a little bit.
I do appreciate and enjoy the chaotic nature of this movie and the I will do what I want nature of it, etc., etc.
Right.
There's almost like what's the word, man? I have a word on the tip of my tongue I can't come up with, but there's a behavioral like thing that is super familiar to me with movies like this. Like I can see myself in these movies, or I can see myself telling these stories.
Yeah.
And like, the artful nature of some of this stuff, the pretentious nature, quote unquote, whatever you want to call it. There's a certain amount of that goes into punk music too. In that whole scene that I'm a part of, there's a pretty large chunk of that in there too. So like all of this stuff, I can relate to it. I may not really love it per se, but I can relate to it in a way. It's interesting, man.
I feel like anytime you take art seriously, there's always some element of pretension because it is artificial. It's not real. You're playing pretend. You're reaching into something that's fake. So there's always some sort of pretension to creating something, right? But
I would say so.
Yeah. So it's just
you sort of have to believe it's good in your own mind a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it.
You got to buy into it. I feel like you got to kind of push that aside. Like if you're just thinking about, I can't be pretentious the whole time.
Right. Then you end up overcorrecting and becoming even more pretentious, I would think.
Right. Exactly.
Good point.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, this is driving me nuts.
Anyways, I don't really have anything else to say about it. I just had a fun time with the movie.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, glad you guys enjoyed it somewhat. Sorry, Clay.
It's all good, man. I feel like Bounce Co. Maybe I deserved it.
Oh, you're.
That one got rave reviews. I think it's about to break double-digit views too.
I don't think anyone knows what that one is, Eddie.
That was awesome. I think it's gonna break double-digit views. Dude, I'm really, really irritated with myself right now. I should have written this shit down and I didn't, and I can't remember what the freaking movie was called.
Well, you guys watch anything else? You guys watch anything else that of note? Y'all want to talk about?
We all watch Romulus.
Oh.
Sure. Let's talk some Romulus.
I watched it twice.
I'm gonna go take a big ass Romulus later.
So
anyways.
good, so good. You watched it twice.
Oof.
Well, it's definitely got something to do with the number 2.
I really wanted to like it so bad.
Man, all right.
I know you did.
Anyone
you were the
watching
one that
this? We're gonna talk about the spoilers of the movie. So
yeah.
You were the one that I felt like sincerely upset for when I left the theater at the end of the movie, but it wasn't because I didn't like some of it, because I liked a lot of it. I have to stand by that. When I came out of the theater, I have said from the get-go that the first good chunk of it I personally liked, right? Yeah. That ending is so fucking terrible, dude. Fuck that stupid movie.
I sat down and I was bitching. I was telling Chris, I was like, man, Randy always torpedoes the movies. Like, he's gonna be wrong on this one. I just feel it. Like, I can't believe he's giving this thing 2 stars. And then we stood up and I looked over my shoulder, dude. I was like, Randy was right. He was right. I was like, God dang it, dude. He was so right.
Yeah, I was trying to be sorry.
We walked out of the movie and Clay was like, Randy was right.
Oh, I mean,
it's a rare win for me, and I will take it, gentlemen.
Well, you know,
I've been on point here lately, man. That
thank you. I appreciate that
too. I like that.
We don't always agree, but I knew how excited you were for this movie. So when I saw such a low rating, I was like, "Ooh, there's got to be something wrong here."
Yeah.
Look, man, there were problems throughout the first like 75% of it, but it wasn't something I could overlook it. It was stuff that I was like, okay, like the pandering to the films of old. Like, I expected that to a degree. It was a little more than I wanted, but I was like, okay. And there wasn't enough gore, like you was saying, but there was some cool stuff. So I was like, okay, dude, the last 20 minutes are so fucking baffling to me, dude. Like, what are we doing? We're in a film series about these creatures that just murk everybody and rain hell on everything, and yet this tiny little girl outsmarts it. Like what the fuck are we talking about, dude?
They were oddly patient with all the humans. Like they gave them like enough time to go like figure out things, and I was like,
let me reboot my Android. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had a little discussion with him. Are you okay yet? Okay.
Yeah. And it's like it's weird because I don't see anybody really talking about this stuff. Like, I've been seeing a lot of like,
man, people like this movie,
dude. I got heaps of shit for my opinion on this movie, dude. People are like, you're fucking stupid. And one guy was like, he was like, I went into a Romulus review to just like kind of see like, okay, am I tripping, dude? Yeah. And the guy starts talking about how great it is, and I immediately was like, no, dude, this is ridiculous. And I just put Romulus was not a good movie, and that's all I put, right? I didn't put no, it's dog shit. No. I wanted to, but I was like, no, it's not a good movie, man.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, yes, it is, with like an angry face, and I was like, but it's not. And then one guy was like, oh, well, you're real smart, saying it's not a good movie, but you're not explaining why. And so I sent him a fucking paragraph, right? And I was like, all right, man, your turn. Why is it good? And then I waited about a day. I went back to that comment and I was like, still waiting. I waited another day yesterday. And I was like, hey, buddy, where's your fucking review of this movie? Why is it so great? Mm-hmm. You know, it's really immature and stupid. Yes. But it's like, dude, don't tell me that I got to give you an explanation, but you're not going to offer one. You're just a fucking fanboy. And that's okay too. Like, there's room for that. I can accept that. But I like, dude, I shitted on like 10 of my coworkers, dude. They were like, man, that was awesome. And I was like, and they were
I wonder if it's appealing to people who don't have a lot of experience with Alien in the past, or like, people who aren't really horror or
which is
sci-fi people.
weird because the movie is like, this is a love letter to Alien. Like everything in this movie is like, you like the last one, right? Remember this?
Somebody was
take
like,
this, dummy.
Yeah,
great character development.
It's all member berries, right?
Yeah, dude.
Remember?
Somebody was like, great character development, more so than all the other Alien movies. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, these characters, I don't relate to them at all. Man, the logic to me was super flawed. I mean, some of the Alien moments, especially where, in Alien 2, the aliens were just ripping through the walls, like just tearing the place to absolute shit.
Yeah.
And in this movie, like Chris said, they're just waiting for, they're hissing at us. They're going to give us a dirty look. And
it was
like,
just
what?
It was just like reasons for gratuitous close-up shots, which
Right.
the shots were cool. Like I thought, like the set design was awesome. Like all the like retro, like big buttons and stuff. Like some of the just cinematography in it was really good, but just the story just was like terrible.
And like they've done the pregnancy thing before with Prometheus, so everybody's acting like that was a big surprise.
I know, dude.
Prometheus,
it's ridiculous.
dog. Like that was one of the best Alien movies. I watched that the next day, and I was like, man, Prometheus is just amazing.
And I remember when Prometheus came out, and like it kind of got dogged on. Like it didn't get
it got panned, bro. That movie was shit on quite a bit.
Yeah, I remember walking out of the theater and being like, dude, that was dope. That was good. Like,
same here. Yeah, like, that movie was awesome. And then
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
And
then everyone was like, oh, it's this. Yeah, I mean, there's some moments in there that are like kind of stupid, but it's so much better than this is. I don't know.
So what about the end of the movie pissed you off, Randy? Is it the monster itself, like the crazy?
Dude, there's a fucking million things that made me mad, dude. First and foremost, this chick didn't pay for none of her mistakes. She made a bunch of fucking stupid mistakes and a bunch of judgment errors, and none of it cost her anything, dude. She doesn't like.
Yeah.
Oh man, like when she's shooting that fucking like. They're like, oh, we can't shoot the alien because it's going to have blood drip on the floor. We're on the bottom floors. Oh, it's okay. I can just do anti-gravity.
Well, just
stop, bro.
One of my big gripes was just, we have this magic gun that just shoots all the aliens automatically and done deal.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah,
like, that was bothering me, man. And
where was that gun in Aliens? Like that gun had to have existed. I mean, they were on a mining planet,
and they was the military. If anyone's gonna have that warfare, it's gonna be them.
Missile, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Because
like I didn't particularly care for the creature design at the end. But I mean, I didn't mind the whole like half Prometheus, half like if the creature design would have been a little bit better, I think I would have been a little more okay with it. But like Randy just said, just all like this series of events that just led up to all that stuff was just so dumb.
The half human, half alien thing was fucking stupid. It looked fucking stupid. It sounded fucking stupid. How did it come out a full-grown giant giraffe? Like, how'd that happen?
In like 10 minutes. That was one of my biggest gripes. Is the aliens grow so fast here? But then I watched Prometheus, and the chest burster comes out of old boy the giant, and it's growing pretty fast there. So I was like, man, maybe my rules are flawed.
I was watching Prometheus too, and I was like, these character designs aren't that great either.
Nah. I remember that was the one thing I didn't like, is they changed the alien look.
Yeah.
It's like a prototype before the xenomorph.
And so on that, like H.R. Giger to me, is alien to some degree. And I know that you at some point need to separate yourself from that art style, and maybe it's dated and things like that. But
bro, it's awesome still.
The interior of the ship, when the aliens have taken over, they build up the walls around the ship to be alien-like, and like I was watching this time, the walls were just covered in like black goop. And I was like, man, it irritated me so much.
Yeah.
Just to have splotchy black goop on the walls.
So I feel like they were trying to reference Prometheus and Alien Covenant like way too much. Like,
okay.
And that's because I think that's because that Ridley Scott was like really involved in making this movie. Like he wanted to do a trilogy. There was supposed to be another movie after Alien Covenant, but that one got, you know, panned pretty bad and it didn't do very well, I don't think.
I tried to watch that shit too, and I was like, ooh, this is rough.
Yeah, it's bad.
Which one?
Alien Covenant.
Oh, I like that movie. Okay, it's not. I don't think it's like necessarily a good movie, but I enjoyed it. Okay,
it has some crazy kills and stuff in it, but it gets a little too like into logic and philosophical.
Yeah, he really wants to get into philosophy in those movies. It's in Prometheus too, but he gets way deeper with it in Alien Covenant, and I was like, no. Yeah, I mean, just that, but trying to tie it into Alien Covenant too much was, I think, just a big mistake. The whole black goo and all that stuff. They should have just they just overcomplicated everything.
They tried too hard.
Yeah. Alien Covenant is a movie that people don't typically like, so they shouldn't have done that because people don't like that movie. I don't mind it, but I even know people don't like that movie. So
yeah, I know. I was in the theater angry watching that movie. Yeah.
I watched it the other day, man, and I was mentally checked out.
I don't think I can watch it again.
But then I'm like, was it as bad as this movie? Like, if I'm going to give Alien Covenant 3 stars, then
no. I still think this one's a little bit better than Alien Covenant.
I need to rewatch Covenant. I want to watch Alien 1 with Bricken and then take him to see this one because I just want him to get to watch it in the theater. Because I think a young person might enjoy this and they have every right to enjoy it. I'm a 40-year-old jaded movie watcher. I don't like a lot of stuff, you know.
I think I said that when we walked out too. I was like, I have to accept the fact that they're not making movies for me anymore. No. They're making them for a newer generation, you know.
I think that's a good point. That's a good point. And like I think there was enough in this movie for me to not go half star and like overreact, but it doesn't earn more than 40% to me, man. It doesn't do it because, like, as an example, why are you going to go through all the trouble to do all these amazing practical effects, which I firmly believe they did a lot of really great practical effects in this movie. To go ruin it with this ectoplasm bullshit with that when she shoots that alien and starts swirling around, it looks like they drew it on there with a fucking marker, dude. It just looks so bad.
And why is the blood just like staying in like clumps? Like it would have sprayed everywhere. It doesn't make
if it did what it was supposed to do, she would have died.
Right, you know? Because it doesn't work for the logic of
and I'm okay with like taking myself out of reality a little bit, but that's like, dude, I'm already doing that with this fucking movie existing. So like, can we at least get some things right? Yeah. She shouldn't have been able to shoot that alien. There should have been a different way. And honestly, she shouldn't have made it out alive. Mm-hmm. It bothers me that she got out alive. Dude, the only thing that should have survived that was Andy. That's it.
Yeah.
But like back to the target audience thing, like I feel like Alien and Aliens especially were sort of like everybody movies. Like everybody's going to like this movie. And so why do you have to be like, okay, this is Alien for the 20-year-olds now? Why do you want to make
I'm not I'm
just saying to me
thing,
it's an odd business decision as far as I'm concerned to be like, oh, here's who we're gearing this movie towards. Here's who's going to love it.
Everything.
But I guess I don't know, man.
Everything's changed like that. Nothing is made for the every person anymore because the people that are in charge are younger now because we're getting older. And the people that are younger don't think the way that we think. They just simply don't. And it's evident in so many facets of my life. But they look at things a completely different way. Also, like big giant corporations, they look at that as like an investment. We're making it for these young people because they're going to grow up buying this over and over and over and over and over.
Right.
Whereas back in the day, like you said, they were like, man, I hope we can just make a banger of a movie because everybody will like it all the time. They don't even know how to think like that anymore, dude. I think that it's more of a question of like, we're different as people. We don't think the same way. I think advertising is different. I think that their goals are probably similar, but their way of getting there is different. It's just strange, man. I don't understand half the shit that happens in a daily
Good point.
life of an American.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like Disney does do that though. Like they do try and make dumb their movies down to the widest possible audience.
Well,
That's
this one,
of their
okay.
big problems. You know
what? I think maybe I might not even be saying it right, or I might not be thinking the right thing, because that's a good point, man. This movie was like, I was telling people, like, I think I told you guys this. If you're a fucking Joe Schmo dude, you might have been okay in this movie. But if you were a fan of film, or if you were a horror fan, dude, you can't tell me that this movie is fucking. If you're a science fiction fan, like I bet you Carissa won't like this movie. She's a science fiction fan. Like she loves science fiction stuff. I guarantee you she's gonna rip this thing to shreds because she's gonna be like, what? She doesn't like the gun thing with the blood. That's gonna drive her nuts, dude. Yeah. And it's like, so if you're gonna watch it as just some fucking popcorn, you might have had a good time, bro.
It's not science fiction logic. The movie doesn't use science fiction logic. It uses horror logic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know, it's a
good point.
Fede Alvarez was making a funhouse movie, or like a haunted house movie in space, which is kind of what the first movie is, but he turned them into young people.
So, but why did they have to have so many? I didn't even consider that. I don't know who brought it up. It might have been one of you guys, but like, why did they need to bring so many aliens into this? There was no.
That's what I was saying. Is like, why?
It might have been you that said it. Then
it doesn't make sense. Why not make it like, if you're going homage, go back to the roots, right?
Yeah.
And have a handful of aliens, even like if that's would be excessive, and then focus on what Fede I think does best, and that's gory, splattery, just craziness.
Yeah.
And I think that was another thing that kind of irked me about the movie in general, is that it uses horror logic, but it doesn't use the splatter effects and things like that. To me, like there was.
I think he got handcuffed. My personal thought and my personal hope is that we get another cut of this one day that's got like 10 extra minutes and a bunch of different shit in it. That's
Alvarez cut.
Yeah, dude, because like we don't really see director cuts anymore. We don't get stuff like that anymore. So I'm hoping that
Ridley Scott,
right?
Every movie he makes has a director.
And Snyder.
Oh shit! Yeah.
I mean, they came out with those Rebel Moon cuts too, and like it sounds like they're even worse than the regular ones.
Well, being the fact that it's a Disney property, like I feel like he probably signed on because it probably had a pretty good script, and he was like, "Man, I could do something with this."
And he's like,
and then when it came
Disney,
when it came time for execution, he's like, "Hey, check this out." And they're like, hold on there, buddy. I know trailer, but we're not Terrifier, like some stupid shit like that, And it's, they had an opportunity to do something like, honestly, that trailer had me super pumped, dude. And this is one of those things where I'm like kicking myself, going, dude, Josh is right, man. You can't get excited by trailers, man. They fucking trick you, dude. Like that movie just simply wasn't as good as they were leading me to believe it was going to be.
I mean, I'm not trying to say I told you so at all.
No,
I was skeptical.
Yeah, you were the
all the way.
I think we were all excited except Josh.
Right.
The trailer looked awesome. I was like, oh man, we might actually get a good one. But I was like, there's something weird. I was, what I was afraid of is exactly, at least, I knew that the characters were going to suck, like because they nobody in the trailer talks at all. Like there was almost no lines of dialogue.
That's a good point.
At all, and usually that's a bad sign that your characters are paper thin. Which in a horror movie, sometimes that's okay, but when it's an alien movie, the reason we care about Ripley is because you get invested in her. Well, and who she is, all those characters, you like them. You don't want to see them die. So when they die, it's like, oh shit, Sean Bean bit the dust.
I was gonna say, and Prometheus, man, you got freaking Idris Elba and Charlize Theron and Noomi Rapace or whatever, and Sean Harris, and you got a freaking crazy cast. I mean, I'm not saying you had to go all out to get all these crazy actors and actresses in this movie, but you had no one. You had nobody.
Well,
And
yeah.
that chick has been in a couple of things now.
I don't like
And
her.
I don't think she's a bad actress, but just all the characters just felt wrong.
I thought she was fine. I just think that she had nothing to work with. Like
No,
she had no character. Like it's not her fault. Like she did her job, but
no, I'm not even saying. Yeah, my point. I don't like her. Like something about her, like the way she looks. I'm not into her. I've only seen her a couple of times. When she was on screen, I was just like,
yeah,
man, I don't care. Like, I don't know. But I will say, contrary to that, whenever the first like 20, 30 minutes, I don't want to just completely shit on the movie and not give any kind of positive feedback because there was a few things that I enjoyed. And I thought that I appreciated the length that they went to explain how the hell they got on that ship. Because I was like, okay, in the trailer, I was like, if this is based in between both movies, like how are they even in this situation? And they had to have like a scenario happen that would put them on a ship. Now I thought it was a little ridiculous that these young people had that ship or access to it or whatever. But the story to get them there, I appreciated that because I thought, man, that's kind of cool. I can see that happening right now, where we're in a situation where we're indentured servants essentially, and then we don't get set free. We didn't do enough yet. You need me more. I like that, and it felt very accurate.
Did you see people relating it to Force Awakens, like Rey on the planet, who she's like in indentured servitude or whatever, and then
I didn't. I haven't been online a lot looking at it.
Wouldn't surprise me a bit, seeing as they're both Disney movies.
Right.
Yeah.
They were like, well, that movie made this amount of money, and we can expect the same return if we use the same format.
I know Chris just watched Don't Breathe, but right before it too. It is Don't Breathe in space, right? Like it's these kids, these young people that are like, I want to better my life. I want to get out of here.
I didn't even think about that.
We're going to get the money and run. It's
exactly what it is.
It's so much that movie.
Yeah.
Don't Breathe, Romulus.
Yeah, and the things that kind of like Don't Breathe was definitely a better movie.
Yes.
But the things that kind of bugged me about Don't Breathe was it's very like trope heavy. Yeah. Like there's a lot of just standard horror tropes in it. They're tripping and falling down, and you're stuck in. But he uses them in Don't Breathe really kind of more cleverly to kind of like progress the story, and then just in this it didn't work. It, like I said, it was that kind of horror logic when you really needed a little bit more science fiction logic because it just felt dumb and alien.
Yeah,
good point.
Yeah. What's the I don't know how to ask this. I'm just asking sincerely out of curiosity. So if horror tropes being kind of silly and dumb like are not what you're looking for, what is it that you're expecting or wanting out of a scenario in a movie like that? Like just out of curiosity, because I enjoy the silly horror tropes. And when you said that, I was like, well, what would they do instead of those things? It's like, what would you prefer? Like just out of curiosity. Or do you even know what you may not have any idea.
Oh no, just some level of awareness when you're writing a script. Go, I can't just do we're gonna run and fall down, and the monsters chase it. Like I don't know, just
run up the stairs.
Yeah, like I don't know, just.
Oh man, see, I kind of like that stuff. I like that I know what's coming because it's like that's what I like about it is that that's what's happening. It's
I don't.
I was just asking. I just was a little surprised when you said that. I wasn't trying to be like shitty.
I don't want to know what's coming. It just feels predictable.
And like the science
it's hard to make stuff that's not predictable.
True. So like Alien 2, where she gets on the loader that was introduced at the beginning of the movie, and it's like, oh, she's using a machine now. She's got some leverage on this monster.
Yeah,
like, that was pretty creative in terms of.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's why I asked. I was trying to figure out what you were kind of.
Well, I was thinking too. I don't. Yeah.
I think those sort of things are what separates a good movie from a great movie. Like we can have fun with a movie and it can be comfortable and like we can see the tropes and stuff and that can be cool. Like I like Don't Breathe a lot, but when you're smart enough to write in the script, like I know this is what people are expecting, but I'm gonna not do that, or I'm gonna find a creative way around that. That's kind of what elevates it to another level to me.
Yeah, I guess I don't like elevated horror. But I was kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, I just said that because you said elevate.
If she had tried it, like you mentioned the gravity thing earlier.
Yeah.
If she had tried that idea and she shot the aliens and then just say the blood went everywhere and I'm like, okay, shit, that doesn't work. And then she found another idea, like she had to put on a suit and then go through it or something like add another level to it. Like, oh shit, that failed. Let me find another way around that. That would have made it interesting. That would have been cool.
Yeah, I never felt like anyone was in real danger.
Yeah, every time that there's something that happens, it's just like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then it's over. Yeah.
Well, you felt like you were like, okay, I know, like right at the beginning when you see all of them, you're like, okay, that dude's first, that dude's second, that dude's third.
Yeah,
that's the second to last person, and then she's gonna make it out, and then and I already had it all pegged, and I'm not really good at that. So the fact that I had it all figured out is pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did like the little X-ray thing. There was a few things I liked about it, but man, it just wasn't enough to carry a movie, man.
Yeah, there's individual parts that are cool. Like
they could have shown her vacuuming up part of the ship at some point. Maybe they're on there initially getting out and they're kind of just talking or whatever, and she's vacuuming part of the ship or cleaning off the keyboard with a little hand vac thing, right? And then later on in the movie, she pulls up that fucking. I'm trying to figure out a way to make that blood thing make sense.
Exactly.
Like explode the thing, and then the vacuum thing doesn't work, but she turns it around and uses the suction, the air coming out of it to blow it out. She flies through there. Make it tense. Put some good music in there. Make it like, shit. Make her get a good burn on her arm. Like
between the four of us, we could sit here for an hour and figure out a much better idea than what they did.
I'm a dummy. And it's like, come on,
there's
man.
acid spinning around.
You throw 50 ideas at the wall and you're like, okay,
something's gonna stick,
and then one of them is gonna work. We're like, okay,
it's better than that bullshit. Yeah,
you're like, yeah, it's just like it's fine. But
it disappointed me because I finally figured out how to articulate what I was thinking. When I saw the trailer, one of the things that I did notice that they didn't have any big stars in the movies in the movie, right? Like there was no giant actors in this movie.
Yeah.
Like you were pointing out a minute ago, I think that was Chris that pointed it out.
That was one thing that made me feel like it was just going to be a slasher.
So I was like,
disposable characters, all getting
But my thought was, since there wasn't these giant names in the movie, that they were going to go balls out and do some wild shit. Because there's nobody that you're like, man, I can't have Matt Damon getting torn in half like that. Okay, good. He's not in the movie. Don't worry about it. Like Michael Fassbender, not in the movie. Fucking whoever, man. Charlize Theron, not in the movie. So you don't have to worry about these people that you are connected to and love getting decimated by this alien. So you have all these no names that could have gotten a name by getting a crazy ass kill. Like you get them popular, you're like, oh, I remember so and so's kill. I don't know any of these fucking people, and I really did think they were going to go out on a limb, and it was such a safe Disney ending that I honestly was just like, man, I don't know that I had to pay full fucking price for that ticket, dude. It drives me nuts, dude. I work at a theater, and I gotta go pay full price to see that shit. Like that, honestly, was probably more insulting than it was anything else.
Because it's Disney, right?
Yeah, dude, if anybody's watching, man, Disney will not let Alamo Drafthouse employees watch their movies at a discount at all. Like if you work there, and I've been there for over 2 years, full price for anything under the Disney umbrella, and that's a big ass umbrella. So it's just more reason for me to not fucking watch these movies, man. Like man. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed, man. The first half hour, first half of it, I was like, oh shit, we might have something here, and then like it just started going. I was like, oh man.
Once the Ian Holm android showed up, I was like, oh no, there's something.
I liked that actually. I
think I said something out loud when
you did. You did.
Like, oh no.
So at first, all the shots, because they did have like an animatronic or something. You could tell.
Yeah.
In some shots it was animatronic, and they were always at a distance. You were like never seeing it full, direct front shot. But when they did, and it's this just like horrible CGI face, I was just like,
one of the things that bugged me that I haven't talked about yet, I guess, was when they were in that like fan thing and whatever the freaking android's name was, and saved the chick,
Andy the android.
Get off her, you bitch, or whatever the line is from like. Oh my god! Like that, you could have put a worse freaking line in there.
And this movie is set before that movie.
Yeah,
it's Aliens hasn't even happened yet,
dude. I didn't even think about that. Holy shit!
What?
That makes it so much worse, dude.
Like
nobody thought that. Like no, that never crossed Ridley Scott's mind.
I now hate this movie. Wow,
dude, that bugged the shit out of me.
Yeah,
we got said something at that point too.
It never even occurred to me. I will say that I liked the android thing, but I the whole time I was thinking like, why didn't they have his face more mutilated so they didn't have to?
Clay just got murdered.
That alien got him.
Yeah, I gotta bounce. What we watching?
Right. Yeah. It's a movie called Brimstone. It's kind of long, but I just thought it would be a different change of pace for everybody. And he's back. I thought it would be a change of pace for us, man. It's something I would not typically pick.
Brimstone.
Yeah, it's a 2.5-hour Western thriller, but it's supposed to be like an amalgamation of like horror and Western. And it's got Guy Pearce and what's her face? Dakota Fanning's in it. Kit Harington's in it. I heard
2.5 hours.
Not what I
would. If you want me to pick a shorter movie, I have a second one that I can put in. I could throw in the hat.
I was thinking about picking a series next. Only 10 or 12 episodes.
Well, I mean, good. You guys typically pick pretty long movies. So
yeah, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, you're good.
Well, I have a second. I mean, it's a long ass movie, so I'm not really tripping.
Let's watch it.
Okay.
Shit, let's do it.
No, I've seen this. I haven't seen the movie. I've seen.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn. I thought.
No. I've seen the poster for it or something before.
Well, a guy that I really like on YouTube was raving about this movie, and it's the second person that I've heard bring it up in the past like year. So I was like, okay, I'll give this one a watch. And then I thought I was gonna watch it the other night. And I was like, no, and that's how I ended up watching The Voyeurs, is because I was gonna watch this, and I was like, no, I want to watch this with the guys. And so I watched Voyeurs, which honestly might have ruined Alien even more for me, because that movie I really loved, and I went and watched Alien like the next morning. Yeah, I don't know. This one, I have another one that I'll just hold on to. Then I won't even tell you what it is for next month, and I'll already have it ready to roll. It's going to be about as different from this as you can get. So,
I have no doubt.
I'll have an extra week to watch it. I am out of town for a week.
Okay, so we're going to do a 2 week from now thing.
That's fine.
Unless I want to do it while I'm gone. I don't
care. I have a thing happening that I got to figure out anyway, so I need some time to adjust. I'm looking for some help on my channel right now. So
okay. No, that's no big deal. We can take a week.
Yeah,
off.
a long ass movie is fine by me.
Yeah, you got 2 weeks to watch 2.5 hours.
I'm gonna have to watch it twice though, because I'm gonna forget it if I watch it the first week.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
All right, that was fun. So Brimstone next week.